This is Lloyd, an extraordinary boy whom no one can stand against. He grew up in a village where only legendary people lived, yet he was considered the weakest among them. Even so, the moment he left for the city, his very first steps shook the entire kingdom. At the moment, Lloyd is trying to catch a rabbit. However, the rabbit suddenly attacks him, lands a hit, and quickly runs away, as if it were a real monster. Lloyd feels a little disappointed, but another boy appears, catches the rabbit with ease, and tells him not to be upset. The moment Lloyd sees him, he runs over excitedly. It turns out to be his childhood friend from the village, Shoma. Shoma tells him they should return to the village because everyone is looking for him right now. It is also revealed that Shoma has been away from the village for quite some time. Lloyd asks what he has been doing all this time and whether the city is really as beautiful as everyone says. Shoma laughs and says that Lloyd seems excited to visit it. Lloyd happily admits that he is. Shoma then tells him that once he grows up, he can travel there and explore the world. Before leaving, Shoma gives him a book he brought back from outside the village. Lloyd is overjoyed and runs back home with it. Several days later, Lloyd finally travels to the city. As soon as he arrives, he heads straight to the witch Marie. She asks why he came and what he wants. Lloyd tells her that he wants to join the royal army and that he will be staying with her for a while. Marie is known as the Witch of the East, so she is confused by his request. She tells him that she is a witch, not the owner of an inn. She then asks where he came from, and Lloyd replies that he is from Kunlun village. The moment Marie hears the name of the village, she is completely shocked. Just then, Lloyd remembers something and takes out a magic crystal containing a message. A moment later, Alka, the leader of the village and Marie's former teacher, appears from inside the crystal. Marie is stunned to see her. Alka briefly explains that Marie is responsible for looking after Lloyd until he joins the royal army. Marie immediately agrees. Alka then turns to Lloyd and tells him that if Marie ever mistreats him in any way, all he has to do is send her a message, and she will personally come to deal with it. After saying that, she disappears. Marie grips the crystal in frustration and complains that she had barely managed to get away from Alka, only for her to appear again at a time like this. Afterward, Marie tells Lloyd that he will stay with her until the Royal Army entrance exam. She points to one of the rooms and says that it will be his room from now on. Lloyd thanks her and goes inside, while Marie thinks that he is a polite and kind boy. But suddenly, Alka appears once again, this time in her real body instead of through the crystal. Marie is completely shocked and asks how she got there. Alka casually replies that she traveled through the magic crystal. She then reveals that she placed an ancient curse on Marie. If Marie ever treats Lloyd badly in any way, Alka will know immediately and return once again. After saying that, she leaves, while Marie curses the day she ever learned magic from Alka. In the end, Marie accepts the situation. The next morning, she wakes up and finds that Lloyd has already prepared breakfast. As they eat together, she asks why he left his village and why he wants to become a soldier. Lloyd explains that he is considered the weakest person in his village and cannot do anything useful there. That is why he decided to come to the city and join the royal army to become a soldier. Marie warns him that the entrance exam is far from easy. It includes battles, combat tests, and exams that measure one's ability to use magic. However, Lloyd insists that he has to join the army. He also tells her that it took him 6 days to reach the city. Marie assumes he traveled by train and says that the city is very far from his village, so that makes sense. But Lloyd surprises her by saying that he never took a train. He ran the entire distance by himself. Marie is left speechless. She cannot believe he reached the city in only 6 days by running. Meanwhile, Lloyd thinks the trip should have taken even less time. Unable to respond, Marie asks what kind of entrance exam he could possibly be worried about. Lloyd replies that his grandfather told him the journey should only take 1 day. She then asks if any monsters attacked him along the way. Lloyd answers that several monsters did attack him, but they were all weak. Marie is even more shocked. She explains that those monsters are extremely dangerous and that the kingdom regularly sends soldiers to eliminate them. She then assures Lloyd that he is incredibly strong and will have no trouble passing the entrance exam. After that, she asks how much he knows about magic. Lloyd casually demonstrates several advanced magic techniques that he has already mastered. The shock is so overwhelming that Marie crashes straight through a wall. She tells him that it took her 5 whole years to learn those techniques, yet he performed them effortlessly. Lloyd's biggest problem is that he always compares himself to the people in his village. As a result, he genuinely believes he is weak, even though his power is overwhelming by the standards of the outside world. Later, Lloyd heads out to explore the city, admiring its buildings and unique architecture. Elsewhere, a warrior accidentally bumps into a girl. It turns out to be Princess Selen, who has also come to enroll in the military academy so she can become a soldier in the kingdom's army. While she is on her way, a monster suddenly appears inside the city. Its presence is strange because monsters are never supposed to appear within the city walls, meaning there must be a reason behind it. The monster attacks the princess, but she barely dodges its strike at the last moment. It then uses the force of its wings to send her flying. Selen crashes into a wall and falls to the ground, unable to move. The monster is just about to finish her off. At that very moment, Lloyd suddenly appears and lands directly on the monster's head. With a single punch, he kills it instantly before lifting its body and throwing it far away. Selen can only stare in complete disbelief, unable to comprehend the incredible power she has just witnessed. Lloyd asks if she is all right. Then he gently wipes the wounds on her face with a handkerchief infused with magic, causing every injury to disappear as if nothing had ever happened. Selen blushes with embarrassment while Lloyd prepares to leave. She quickly calls out to him, introduces herself as Selen, and thanks him for saving her. Lloyd smiles and tells her there is no need to thank him. He introduces himself as Lloyd before quietly leaving. After returning to her room, Selen remembers how everyone had always feared her because of the curse placed upon her. No one had ever dared to get close to her. That is exactly why she begins to admire Lloyd. He treated her like a normal person, without showing even the slightest fear or hesitation. The source of that curse was the headband she wore. No matter how many people tried, no one had ever been able to remove it. With tears in her eyes, she tries to take it off once more. To her complete surprise, the headband comes off effortlessly this time, allowing her to remove it without any difficulty. She finally realizes that the curse disappeared because of the magical handkerchief Lloyd used to wipe away her wounds. It was never an ordinary handkerchief. It carried enough magic power to completely remove the curse from her. It becomes clear that the handkerchief does more than heal wounds. It can also break curses. That is how Selen realizes that Lloyd was the one who freed her from the curse. Meanwhile, Lloyd returns to Marie's house after buying some household supplies. He also gives Marie a gift, making her incredibly happy because it is the first gift she has ever received from anyone. During that time, 2 members of the royal army are watching the area. The female soldier notices that this year's number of applicants is unusually high, and that everyone wants to join the army. Commander Murthafan tells her that this is good for the kingdom because it grows bigger and stronger every single year. He then reminds her that the kingdom's princess is still missing. Without a powerful army, the kingdom could easily fall into ruin. It is also revealed that the kingdom currently has no ruler. Because of that, it is constantly at risk of being invaded by neighboring kingdoms or attacked by monsters from outside. In short, the royal army is responsible for protecting the kingdom and maintaining its stability. At the same time, Selen runs into the warrior who bumped into her earlier. He sarcastically tells her that she could have removed the cursed headband all this time and wonders why she kept frightening everyone with it. Selen ignores him completely and continues on her way. It is clear that this year's applicants are exceptionally powerful. Meanwhile, Lloyd is sitting by himself while a girl is seated beside him. Suddenly, the girl senses an overwhelming amount of magic power. She turns toward him, and the moment she sees Lloyd, she is completely shocked. She wonders if all that power is really coming from that young boy. Lloyd looks at the armor on her arm and tells her that it looks amazing. The girl quickly stands up, feeling flustered. Lloyd introduces himself and tells her that his name is Lloyd. She calms down a little before introducing herself as Ryo. But suddenly, Selen crashes into Ryo, knocking her straight into a wall. She then looks at Lloyd and asks if he still remembers her. Lloyd smiles and tells her that of course he does. After all, he was the one who saved her from the monster. He then asks if she also came to the city to take the entrance exam. She confirms that she did and tells him that she wants to join the royal army just like him. Ryo quietly tries to leave the scene. However, Selen grabs her and asks why she is standing next to Lloyd. She then tells Ryo not to go near him again. It is obvious that Selen has become deeply interested in Lloyd. Just then, one of the royal army commanders arrives and tells everyone to get ready, announcing that the combat exam is about to begin. He explains that the test is simple. Each applicant must choose one of the available weapons and then try to destroy the iron training dummy. Immediately afterward, all the applicants who pass the first exam gather together while one of the commanders explains the next set of instructions. But where is Lloyd? Could he have actually failed the very first exam? Even Selen and Ryo begin looking for him, but they cannot find him anywhere. At the same time, Commander Murthafan checks the list of successful applicants, yet Lloyd's name is nowhere to be found. After that, the commander shows everyone a portrait of the missing queen. However, no one pays much attention to it, not even Murthafan himself. He is still thinking about the incredible power Lloyd displayed during the exam, and cannot believe that he failed. He insists that there must have been some kind of mistake. Meanwhile, Lloyd walks through the streets telling himself that the result was not surprising, because he did not think he accomplished anything noteworthy during the exam. Suddenly, a monster appears in front of him. Lloyd throws a single punch, effortlessly sending it flying high into the air. Afterward, Lloyd enters a building, which turns out to be a restaurant. Without any warning, the owner attacks him. Lloyd easily dodges every strike as if he were simply playing around. The moment the man senses Lloyd's aura, he is completely shocked and wonders how such a young boy could possess such an overwhelming presence. However, Lloyd calmly explains that he came looking for a job and is willing to work in exchange for payment. The owner immediately becomes suspicious and assumes it is some kind of trap. It is revealed that he was once a commander in the royal army, so he believes Lloyd has come to gather information from him. Lloyd asks him to give him a chance to demonstrate his cooking skills. He immediately begins preparing a meal and explains that he failed the royal army entrance exam. That is why he is looking for work, and he plans to take the exam again next year. Even so, the man remains cautious because he still cannot forget how effortlessly Lloyd avoided his attack. Elsewhere, Commander Murthafan returns with Selen to review Lloyd's intelligence exam paper. They discover that Lloyd did not write ordinary answers. Instead, he drew something on the paper. Because of that, everyone originally assumed he had failed the written exam. However, the female commander carefully examines the paper before suddenly telling everyone to stop. She explains that what Lloyd drew is not an ordinary drawing. It is an ancient magic rune. She wonders where that boy has gone and how he managed to reach such an incredible level of mastery in magic. She immediately orders everyone to search for him and bring him back. Meanwhile, Lloyd finishes preparing the meal and serves the restaurant owner a special dish. Even then, the man is still nervous and even suspects that the food might be poisoned. At the same time, the commander explains the meaning of the rune Lloyd drew. She reveals that it comes from the age of ancient magic and possesses twice the power of the magic used in the current era. Because of that, she concludes that Lloyd has an extraordinary natural talent for magic. As for the restaurant owner, he finally tastes the meal and is left speechless by how delicious it is. Only then does he finally relax and realize that Lloyd was telling the truth and genuinely came looking for a job. He introduces himself and says that his name is Chrome and that he used to be a commander in the royal army. Lloyd then introduces himself as well. After that, Chrome tells Lloyd that starting today, he officially works at the restaurant. Later, Lloyd returns to Marie's house and finds Alka waiting there. He tells both of them that he failed the entrance exam. Marie and Alka are both completely stunned. Filled with anger, Alka declares that she is going to destroy the entire kingdom. Marie quickly tries to calm her down and asks what the innocent people have done to deserve that. Alka replies that, in that case, she will only destroy 20% of the city. Lloyd immediately asks her not to do that and assures her that he will pass the exam next year. Alka then asks whether he will return to the village with her. Lloyd answers that he plans to stay in the city with Marie until next year's entrance exam. He then turns to Marie, tells her that he will pay for staying in the room, and asks if she will allow him to remain there. Marie smiles and tells him that he can stay for as long as he wants because he is always welcome. Seeing how determined he is, Alka finally agrees and tells him to do whatever he believes is best. Lloyd happily heads off to prepare dinner. Afterward, Alka tells Marie that since she will be staying with Lloyd, she has decided to live with them as well. Marie is on the verge of collapsing, but she has no choice but to accept it. She then takes advantage of Alka's presence and asks her to save the kingdom. She explains that the situation has become extremely dangerous. The queen is still missing, the kingdom is under the threat of invasion, and a war could break out in the near future. However, Alka calmly replies that the people of Kunlun village only intervene when the threat comes from magical monsters or the demon kingdom. Human wars are none of their concern. She then warns Marie not to use Lloyd in any of those conflicts, making it clear that if she does, she will destroy the kingdom without showing any mercy. It becomes clear that Marie had placed great hopes on Lloyd. In the end, Alka tells them that she will not stay with them for now, but she will return later. She then opens a wardrobe, uses teleportation magic from inside it, and disappears instantly. Meanwhile, Commander Murthafan is sitting in a restaurant with the female commander as they discuss how they can find Lloyd. They both wonder where he could have gone within the city. During their conversation, Murthafan notices that every Royal Army soldier is eating at that restaurant and that everyone is impressed by the quality of the food. He comments that it is the first time this restaurant has ever served food of such a high standard. A moment later, Chrome brings their meals to the table. The moment they taste the food, they are both amazed. Murthafan asks Chrome if he is the one who prepared it. Chrome replies that he is not the chef. He admits that no one ever liked his cooking before, but he recently hired a new employee. The commander is surprised and wonders why someone would choose to work at this restaurant. Just then, Lloyd walks out of the kitchen and tells Chrome that the next dish is ready. The moment Murthafan and the female commander see him, they are completely stunned because they have been searching for him all over the city. Murthafan immediately grabs Chrome and tells him that the entire kingdom has been looking for Lloyd while he has him working in his restaurant. Meanwhile, Lloyd heads outside to throw away the trash. There, he notices Marie entering a nearby building. He wonders what she is doing there. Shortly afterward, two soldiers enter the same building while talking about monsters appearing inside the city once again. Curious, Lloyd decides to follow them and find out what is happening. Elsewhere, Celine is still searching for Lloyd throughout the city. During her search, she gets into an argument with one of the entrance exam applicants. The young man tells her to calm down and stop causing trouble, but without any warning, he suddenly attacks her. The curse within the headband she is wearing activates automatically, sending his weapon flying away. Everyone is left in complete shock, because that young man is considered the strongest applicant in this year's entrance exam. It becomes clear that the headband reacted on its own without Celine doing anything. At that very moment, Lloyd arrives at the scene. As soon as Celine sees him, she immediately runs over to him. Soon after, the female commander arrives and announces that fighting between applicants is strictly forbidden and that anyone who breaks the rules again will be disqualified from joining the Royal Army. However, Murthafan interrupts her and declares that fighting Lloyd is allowed, treating it as a special training session. His goal is for everyone to witness Lloyd's true strength and prove that he deserves to join the Royal Army. Lloyd looks at his opponent and calmly tells him that he cannot fight him because the young man's strength is far below his own. Even so, Murthafan orders Lloyd to fight and tells him to think of it as nothing more than training. Lloyd finally agrees. He prepares to unleash his overwhelming power. But just before he throws his punch, a powerful magical storm suddenly sweeps through the area and carries Lloyd away. It is then revealed that the one behind it is the witch Marie. But one question remains. Why did she kidnap Lloyd right in front of everyone? It turns out that Marie was worried about Lloyd taking part in that fight. She was also afraid of Alka's anger because she knew that if anything happened to Lloyd, Alka would not hesitate to destroy the entire city. Marie tells Lloyd that a fight like that could have gotten him hurt, and that his opponents were not the kind of people to take lightly. Lloyd thanks her for caring about him and worrying for his safety. During that time, Chrome arrives, apologizes to Lloyd, and asks him to return to the restaurant because the customers are waiting for him. Afterward, Chrome speaks privately with Marie. It is revealed that he is still carrying out a secret mission to search for the missing queen and that he never truly left the Royal Army. Marie tells him that the current problem is that several commanders within the army want the kingdom to fall. Because of that, they are planning to send the army to wage war against the kingdom of Gyo. Elsewhere, the female commander asks Murthafan why he is so determined to recruit Lloyd into the Royal Army. Murthafan explains that the kingdom of Gyo attacked them in the past, when their military forces were weak. He firmly declares that he will never allow history to repeat itself, and that Lloyd must join the Royal Army before the next war begins. Meanwhile, Celine and Ryo continue searching all over the city for Lloyd. Celine suggests visiting Marie's house, hoping the witch might be able to locate him with magic. They knock on the door and Lloyd is the one who opens it. The two girls enter the house and Selin is surprised to discover that Lloyd is living under the same roof as Marie. Suddenly, Marie walks into the room. Selin looks visibly upset that Lloyd is staying with her. Lloyd introduces them, saying that they are his friends, Selin and Ryo. Meanwhile, Marie quietly wonders why Selin is reacting so strongly. After that, Ryo shows Marie a picture that the commander asked them to bring, hoping she might recognize it. Marie looks at the picture and tells them that it is a portrait of the missing princess, but she insists that she knows nothing about her. Ryo notices Marie's nervous expression and begins wondering why she seems so tense and why she looks so much like the missing princess. Selene then asks Marie how long she has been living there. Marie answers that she has lived there for 2 years. Selene tells her that she looks extremely nervous and that she seems to be hiding something. At that moment, Marie realizes that the truth is about to come out. It becomes clear that Marie is actually the missing princess. She prepares to reveal the truth. However, just before she can say anything, Selene suddenly asks whether she is married to Lloyd. Marie immediately uses the unexpected question to change the subject and explains that Lloyd is only staying with her temporarily until he can join the royal army. But Ryo interrupts her and says that she was just about to admit that she is the missing princess. Marie quickly denies it and insists that she is only a witch and has nothing to do with the princess. After that, Selene asks Marie to tell them if she learns anything about the missing princess. Marie then asks why she is so interested in finding her. Selene explains that if they manage to find the princess, the army commanders will reward them by accepting Lloyd into the royal army. Hearing that, Marie suggests that they exchange information. She asks them to first tell her about the kingdom's current situation and the strength of the royal army. In return, she promises to tell them everything she knows. Ryo then asks who Marie really is and why she is so interested in learning all of that. Marie calmly replies that Ryo already knows her true identity. At that very moment, Lloyd walks into the room and tells Marie that he has figured out her secret as well. He then smiles and says that she is the kingdom's hero because she saved him from that fight. Marie is confused by Lloyd's words and asks him what he means by calling her a hero. Lloyd explains that he saw her enter that alley and defeat every monster there. That is why he believes she is a true hero, and he asks her to let him help her. Marie lets out a laugh and sarcastically says that she really is the hero the kingdom has been waiting for. However, her expression quickly changes. She tells Lloyd that she does not want him by her side because he would only hold her back and that he is still too weak. Lloyd is deeply hurt by her words. He apologizes and says that all his requests have only become a burden to her before quietly leaving. In reality, Marie knows perfectly well how powerful Lloyd is. She only said those things because she wanted to protect him from the war and destruction that are approaching. After Lloyd leaves, Marie removes the hat covering her head and finally admits to Selene and Ryo that she is the missing princess. She asks them to help her get rid of the commanders who are trying to start a war and destroy the kingdom. Ryo is happy that Marie finally revealed her true identity. However, she asks why Marie insulted Lloyd even though she knows how strong he is, and that he could change the outcome of the war. Marie explains that Lloyd comes from the magical village of Kunlun. Ryo is stunned and asks if that village truly exists. Marie explains that if Lloyd takes part in the war, Alka will immediately take him back to the village. He will lose his dream of becoming a soldier and be completely heartbroken. Ryo finally understands why Marie deliberately pushed him away. Marie then adds that several commanders within the kingdom already want to eliminate her, and that orders have been sent to every commander to capture her, dead or alive. That is why she needs their help. Meanwhile, Lloyd is lying in his room, feeling depressed as he tells himself that he will never become a strong soldier. Elsewhere, Marie is sitting alone on the rooftop. Suddenly, Alka appears right in front of her. Marie is so startled that she almost falls off the roof. Alka tells her that she is grateful because Marie kept her promise and successfully kept Lloyd away from the war. Marie assures her that no matter what happens, she will never allow Lloyd to take part in that war. Alka then asks why Marie threw the magic crystal she used for teleportation into the well. She tells Marie that she will spare her this time because she kept her promise. After saying that, Alka leaves. As for Marie, she is still so terrified that she ends up falling off the roof. Later, Alka takes Lloyd to a nighttime festival to cheer him up and help him forget his sadness. They spend some time playing games together, and she even buys him some sweets, but suddenly monsters attack the festival and begin destroying everything around them. Elsewhere, Chrome stands before the current king and asks for permission to return to the royal army. However, Murthafan mocks him and tells him to go back to running his restaurant. At that point, Chrome reveals the entire truth. He tells everyone that he knows where the missing princess is and reveals that the princess is actually Marie. He then accuses Murthafan of being the one who issued the order to capture her, dead or alive. Chrome directly asks whether he is responsible for those orders. Murthafan openly admits that he is. He justifies his actions by saying that if the queen returns to the throne, she will declare peace, but he has no desire for peace. He declares that he will not rest until the kingdom of Gyo is completely destroyed. It becomes clear that Murthafan holds a deep hatred for the kingdom of Gyo. Suddenly, Selen enters the hall with Ryo by her side. Ryo looks at Murthafan and tells him that he confessed much sooner than she expected. At that moment, Marie steps out from behind them, greets him, and says that she has learned he was the one who ordered the soldiers to capture her. She confronts him, accusing him of trying to kill the princess so that a war would break out. Murthafan is completely shocked when he realizes that Marie truly is the missing princess because he believed Chrome had been lying to him. During that time, the current king steps forward and welcomes everyone, but without warning, Murthafan delivers a powerful blow that sends him flying. It is then revealed that the king is not human at all, but a monster. The creature tells Murthafan that it has been controlling him the entire time. It was the one that ordered the destruction of his village while making him believe that the kingdom of Gyo was responsible. It also reveals that it continued manipulating him until it finally gained control of the kingdom's throne. After that, it grabs Murthafan by the head and transforms him into a monster. It finally becomes clear that monsters have been controlling the kingdom from the very beginning. After transforming, Murthafan charges straight toward Marie. Ryo intercepts him and tells Marie to go after the king. Marie immediately rushes toward him. She finds him sitting on the throne once again, so she attacks him while declaring that she will take her father back from him. It becomes clear that her father is deeply connected to everything that has happened. However, the king possesses overwhelming power. With a single attack, he brings the ceiling crashing down on top of her. Even so, Marie gets back on her feet and attacks him with fire magic. The king creates a magical barrier and blocks the entire attack with ease. Then the shocking truth is revealed. The monster standing before her is actually her father, the kingdom's rightful king, after being possessed by monsters. Marie rushes toward him with all her strength. However, the monster takes advantage of her emotions. It calls her by name and tells her that she has grown up so much. Marie hesitates for a brief moment, and her attack loses its strength. The monster seizes the opportunity and delivers a devastating blow that destroys the surrounding area and sends her flying. Marie crashes onto the ground, unable to stand. The king slowly walks over to her, grabs her arm, and snaps it right in front of her. Marie screams in agony as he tells her that she cannot endure any longer and that he will end her life right there. Fear fills Marie's heart, and the very first thing that comes to her mind is that she never apologized to Lloyd. Even so, she declares that she will never allow him to kill her. She vows to defeat him and restore peace to the kingdom. Meanwhile, the festival has turned into a battlefield after monsters invaded the area. Without any help from Alka, Lloyd defeats every single monster by himself. Elsewhere, the king reveals to Marie that he is the demon lord. It becomes clear that he is not an ordinary monster, but the demon lord himself. The moment Marie realizes that, she immediately runs away. However, she is not fleeing out of fear. She is heading to find Alka so she can defeat him. At the same time, Lloyd is searching for Marie because he feels that she is in danger. While looking for her, he finds a young boy hiding from the monsters. Lloyd encourages him to stand and fight. Inspired by his words, the boy charges forward and defeats one of the monsters with a single strike. Suddenly, a gigantic magic circle appears above the city. Alka emerges from it and declares that since the demon lord is responsible for everything happening, it is finally time for her to step in. She dashes across the city, eliminating every monster with swift attacks. At last, Lloyd arrives at the royal palace. He finds Chrome, Selen, and Ryo struggling against the transformed Murthafan, but none of them can stop him. The instant Lloyd arrives, Murthafan attacks him. However, Lloyd knocks him to the ground in the blink of an eye. He then tries to wake him up and asks what happened to him. Mirthafan actually regains part of his consciousness and begins returning to normal, but Lloyd continues pressing down on him while trying to calm him. Mirthafan becomes enraged once again and transforms back into a monster. He immediately charges at Lloyd, but Lloyd effortlessly dodges every attack. With a single punch, Lloyd lands a devastating blow to Mirthafan's head, sending him flying backward in unbearable pain. After that attack, Mirthafan is no longer able to move. But suddenly, Marie bursts through the door and rushes into the hall. She has been running away from the Demon Lord. The moment she sees Lloyd, she feels relieved and tells him how happy she is that he is there. In the very next moment, the Demon Lord arrives. Lloyd steps forward and tells everyone to stay back, warning them that a dangerous monster is here. Marie points at the Demon Lord and tells Lloyd that he is the monster she has been talking about before laughing at his reaction. She then asks Lloyd to wipe the Demon Lord's face with the magical handkerchief. Marie knows that the handkerchief has the power to remove curses, just as it did when it freed Selen from hers. The Demon Lord tries to resist, but Lloyd eventually manages to wipe his face with the handkerchief. Immediately, the curse disappears, and the king returns to normal, although he remains unconscious. After that, Lloyd notices that Marie's arm is broken, so he uses magic to heal it. Marie is overjoyed. She hugs Lloyd and thanks him for everything he has done. With that, the monster's occupation of the kingdom finally comes to an end. The people of the city begin cleaning up the destruction left behind by the battle. During that time, Lloyd runs into his old friend Shoma, and the two greet each other. It is revealed that Shoma came to the city to sell his goods during the festival, but the monster attack ruined everything. Shortly afterward, Chrome returns to his former position as a commander in the royal army. As for Mirthafan, Alka takes him back to Kunlun village. There, she puts him to work in one of the wheat fields and tells him that this will be his job from now on, warning him not to even think about escaping. Mirthafan does not complain. Instead, he feels relieved because he thought he would be executed for everything he had done. Elsewhere, Alka returns to Marie and asks what she plans to do now and whether she intends to return to the royal palace. Marie replies that she will leave the kingdom's affairs to her father because she has grown attached to her current life and has no desire to return to life in the palace. At long last, Lloyd finally achieves his dream of joining the royal army. This time, he does not even need to retake the entrance exams because the king personally orders that Lloyd be accepted into the army. Afterward, Selen and Riho arrive at the house to pick him up. Selen asks Alka who she is. Lloyd quickly steps in and introduces her as Alka, the leader of his village. As far as Selen is concerned, any girl who gets close to Lloyd is her rival. However, Alka effortlessly suppresses the power of Selen's cursed headband before telling her that she should know exactly who she is standing before. At that moment, the soldier Alan also arrives to personally thank Lloyd for helping him defeat the monsters. As night falls, Marie, Chrome, and Lloyd head to that location. At first, it looks as though they are simply going there to clean the area, but the truth is completely different. Marie actually wants Lloyd to try pulling the sword embedded in the giant rock. That sword is a legendary weapon with tremendous power. The moment Lloyd reaches for it, he pulls it out effortlessly, as if it requires no strength at all. The owner of the place is devastated because he used to make money from visitors who came to see the legendary sword. Now that it has been removed, that source of income is gone. The following morning, training begins at the military academy. Lloyd easily passes every physical test, outperforming everyone in both strength and speed without showing the slightest sign of exhaustion. After the training session ends, everyone returns to the classroom. Every student is too exhausted to move except for Lloyd, who looks as though he has not exercised at all. A short while later, the commander enters the classroom and tells everyone to get ready because she is about to select several students to participate in combat matches against other academies, especially Rakuju Academy. It is clear that these matches are extremely important. The students do not understand what she means, and Lloyd is the first to look confused. Alan then explains that they are simply friendly matches held every year between the academies. The commander leads everyone to the training grounds and brings out a magic-resistant training dummy. She explains that anyone who can destroy it using magic will be selected to participate. Selen goes first, but her attack is not powerful enough. Next is Riho, who performs much better. Finally, it is Lloyd's turn. He releases an enormous amount of magic power, yet the dummy remains completely intact. Instead, the attack bounces off the dummy, destroys part of the academy's outer wall, and continues into the nearby forest, causing massive destruction. The commander tells Lloyd that a performance like that could prevent him from participating in the matches. Meanwhile, two girls arrive at Marie's house. Marie asks who they are. One of them introduces herself as Mina and explains that the other girl is her younger sister, Philo. Marie immediately realizes that they belong to the Mercenary Guild. The Mercenary Guild is an organization that accepts any mission in exchange for money. However, Mina explains that they are currently studying at the academy and only came to ask about the girl in the picture they are carrying. It turns out that the picture is of Ryo and that she also belongs to the Mercenary Guild. Suddenly, Philo senses a terrifying aura approaching the house and is instantly overwhelmed with fear. At that very moment, Lloyd opens the front door. Philo immediately jumps toward him, lands on top of his head, and strikes him in the side. Lloyd is completely unaffected and simply assumes she was trying to kill a fly. After that, Lloyd notices the picture they are carrying and tells them that it is a picture of Ryo. Mina asks whether he knows her. Lloyd replies that he knows her very well because they study together at the academy. Afterward, Philo asks Lloyd to accept her as his disciple. However, Lloyd politely refuses, explaining that he is staying with Marie and cannot do that. Philo immediately turns to Marie and announces that she is going to live with them instead. Marie throws both sisters out of the house without hesitation. The next morning, everyone resumes their training at the academy. During the session, Ryo asks the commander why she is so determined to win the upcoming matches. The commander replies that she wants to defeat the commander of Rokuju Academy. The moment she mentions her name, the commander of Rokuju Academy arrives. Her name is Rule. Ryo is immediately shocked the moment she sees her. Rule walks straight toward Ryo, warns her not to participate, and tells her that she should stay where she belongs because if she joins the competition, Rule will eliminate her in their upcoming battle. It becomes clear that there is a mysterious connection between Ryo and Rule, but the truth behind it has not been revealed yet. Ryo refuses to back down, while Rule leaves the area and tells her that the decision is hers to make. However, she warns Ryo that she will never stand a chance against her on the day of the match. After that, Lloyd returns home and asks Marie about the best way to cheer someone up when they are going through a difficult time. Marie tells him that taking the person out for a meal or buying them some sweets might help them feel better. Following her advice, Lloyd takes Ryo to a restaurant. He tries to lift her spirits by buying her some desserts and spending some quiet time with her. During their conversation, Lloyd learns about Ryo's past. It is revealed that she grew up in an orphanage, and she was not alone there. Rule also lived in the same orphanage, and the two of them shared a close bond. One day, Rule gave Ryo the prosthetic arm she now wears. Ryo was overjoyed and said that she could finally work and help support the orphanage. Unfortunately, things did not turn out the way she had hoped. The two eventually went their separate ways, and Ryo later ended up at the academy. Suddenly, Selen arrives at the restaurant and accuses the two of them of betraying her. Ryo quickly explains that she and Lloyd were only talking about her old memories. After that, all the students from both academies gather at the competition arena. The first match begins between Philo and one of the students from Rokuju Academy. The student unleashes all of her strength and charges straight at Philo. However, Philo effortlessly uses water magic to throw her into a wall, earning the first victory for her team. After the match, Lloyd goes over to check on the defeated student. She becomes angry and tells him not to treat her as if she were as weak as he is. She insists that although she lost the match, she is not weak. Lloyd simply remains silent and says nothing. When he returns home later that day, he finds the same girl waiting for him. She apologizes for what she said earlier, and the misunderstanding between them is resolved. The following day, the match between Azami Academy and Rokuju Academy finally begins. Before the battle starts, Ryo tells Rule that she will never back down, no matter what happens. Rule replies that the choice is entirely hers, but she believes the upcoming fight will be the last battle Ryo ever fights. During that time, Chrome announces the tournament's grand prize. He reveals that the champion will receive a huge cash reward along with the legendary sword. Everyone is left stunned because offering the legendary sword as the prize makes the competition even more intense than ever before. After that, everyone follows Chrome into another room. Ryo immediately objects to his decision and asks whether he has lost his mind. She cannot understand how he could offer a legendary sword of that caliber as the tournament's prize. The moment Rule hears about it, she announces that she will return to the tournament to win the legendary sword before leaving the room. Afterward, the commander informs Lloyd that he has officially been selected as a member of the team representing the academy. Meanwhile, Alka prevents Marie from going to watch Lloyd Lloyd's match by placing a curse on her that keeps her from moving. The reason is that Alka cannot reveal herself in public. After that, Alka leaves the house. However, she suddenly receives a message from Kunlun village and disappears immediately. Meanwhile, the referee explains the tournament rules to all the students. He announces that every match will be a one-on-one battle and that only magic and magical weapons are allowed. He then declares the start of the first match between Selene and Philo. Since Philo had already proven her strength in an earlier battle, no one underestimated her. Philo attacks first, using lightning magic. Selene remains completely still because she expects her cursed headband to block the attack automatically. However, the headband does not respond because she has not fully mastered it yet. At the last possible moment, she barely manages to dodge the attack. She immediately finds herself at a disadvantage because without the headband, she cannot keep up with her opponent. Philo gives her no opportunity to recover and continues her assault with a barrage of magical fireballs. Selene has no choice but to keep dodging because she cannot fight properly without the headband. Suddenly, Philo draws a magic circle, unleashing a massive lightning strike from the sky. At the final moment, the headband finally responds and completely blocks the attack. Selene smiles and declares that the real fight starts now. Philo continues firing lightning magic, but the headband blocks every attack without Selene suffering any damage. Selene immediately launches a counterattack. The cursed headband wraps around Philo, restrains her movements, and pulls her closer as Selene prepares to deliver the finishing blow. But the referee suddenly steps in and orders the match to stop. He then announces Selene's disqualification. He explains that using the cursed headband violates the tournament rules because only magic and magical weapons are permitted. The headband is considered a cursed item, not a magical weapon. As a result, Philo is declared the winner of the match. After that, the second match begins between Lloyd and Mina. Mina starts the battle by drawing a magic circle before creating a massive sphere of water that completely covers Lloyd's head, intending to suffocate him until he gives up. 20 full minutes pass while Lloyd simply stands there without resisting at all. The referee begins to wonder whether Lloyd is still alive. When he walks over to check, he finds Lloyd standing there with his eyes open, looking perfectly fine. Even then, Mina refuses to give up. She removes the water sphere, preparing to continue the battle. Suddenly, she unleashes an even stronger attack, summoning a massive water storm that traps Lloyd at its center. At last, Lloyd decides to rely on his own strategy. He casts wind magic and completely destroys the storm. The attack does not stop there. It continues forward, slamming into Mina and sending her crashing into a wall. The referee immediately declares Lloyd the winner, and the entire audience erupts into cheers. The next match begins between two childhood friends, Ryo and Rule. Without any hesitation, the two begin exchanging powerful fire magic attacks. Rule's strategy is to completely drain Ryo's magic power before finishing her off. Suddenly, Rule rushes forward and successfully tears off Ryo's magical prosthetic arm. Ryo immediately collapses to the ground because her strength drops dramatically without it. Even so, she refuses to surrender. Using a powerful blast of fire magic, she strikes Rule directly in the face and sends her flying to the opposite side of the arena. At the same time, Ryo suffers a serious injury to her arm. However, it is revealed that she embedded a healing magic stone inside it, allowing the wound to heal instantly. She then slowly walks toward Rule. Rule is so terrified that she cannot even move. Overcome with fear, she loses consciousness, and the referee declares Ryo the winner. When Rule wakes up, she finds herself resting inside a room. Several students tell her that the reason the legendary sword ended up in the kingdom is because of the Witch of the East. They also mention that a young boy lives with her. She treats him like a younger brother, and he possesses incredible strength. That boy is none other than Lloyd. After that, Rule gives Philo a message and asks her to visit that boy and convince him to join their side. Meanwhile, Lloyd returns home carrying the legendary sword after becoming this year's tournament champion. However, when he enters the house, Marie is nowhere to be found. Instead, he discovers a note that reads, "If you want her back, bring the legendary sword to the Western Lighthouse." The note is signed by the two mercenary sisters. The moment Lloyd leaves the house, he runs into Alan. After telling him everything that happened, the two head straight for the Western Lighthouse. At the same time, Rule scolds Philo, explaining that she only asked her to persuade Lloyd to join them, not to kidnap Marie. During their conversation, Philo looks out the window and notices Lloyd approaching. She immediately goes outside and challenges him to another duel to avenge her sister's defeat. Without waiting another second, she attacks him. Lloyd easily blocks the attack. Philo continues attacking him from every direction, but Lloyd effortlessly defends against every strike. She then tells him that this battle will only end when one of them dies. At that moment, Lloyd realizes that this is no longer a simple sparring match. He accepts the challenge, unleashes his full power, and his overwhelming aura explodes outward. Before the real battle begins, Lloyd hands the legendary sword to Alan and asks him to keep it safe. After that, Lloyd and Philo engage in an intense hand-to-hand battle, and the force of their attacks begins destroying everything around them. During the fight, Alan hides in fear because of the tremendous power of their attacks. Suddenly, a man appears and tries to steal the legendary sword from him. Alan runs away, but before the man can catch him, Mina appears and defeats the attacker. Elsewhere, the battle between Lloyd and Philo continues. Neither of them has any intention of surrendering, and the ground itself begins collapsing beneath their feet. Lloyd manages to grab Philo and fly high into the sky with her. She nearly defeats him, but Lloyd suddenly becomes serious and releases a gigantic wind magic circle. The explosion strikes both of them, sending them crashing back to the ground and destroying several nearby houses. After the clash finally ends, Lloyd looks at his hand, making it clear that he is the victor. Philo congratulates him on his victory. However, Lloyd immediately asks where Marie is. Philo calmly replies that Marie has been at home the entire time and that no one kidnapped her. She explains that Marie is inside the storage room and that she was the one who placed the note on the table. Lloyd is completely stunned because he never realized that. Meanwhile, Rule is furious that they failed to obtain the legendary sword. In her anger, she smashes the crystal in front of her. It turns out to be the very same crystal Alka uses for teleportation. Philo had secretly taken it from Marie's house and given it to Rule. The instant the crystal shatters, Alka appears before them. She asks Rule who she is before demanding to know where Lloyd is. When Rule answers that she has no idea where he is, Alka realizes that she was the one who destroyed the crystal. In a single instant, Alka destroys the entire tower on top of Rule. After everything is over, Chrome takes the legendary sword back from Lloyd and locks it inside the kingdom's vault because keeping it anywhere else would be far too dangerous. The next morning, Lloyd is at the academy, and there is only one day left before the vacation begins. Because of that, Ryo suggests that they go on a trip together during the break. The moment Selene hears that, she becomes visibly upset. Ryo asks why she is reacting that way. Selene replies that she had been planning to spend the vacation with Lloyd, but her family suddenly called her home, leaving her with no idea what to do. Then, a strange idea pops into her head. She says she will blow up her own house with fire magic so she can return to the academy. After that, she asks Lloyd if he would like to go on a trip with her instead. However, Lloyd politely declines, explaining that he already has plans for the following day. Even Alan wants to spend the vacation with Lloyd, but Lloyd apologizes to him as well, saying that he has several things he needs to take care of. Ryo and Selene immediately grab Lloyd and drag him away, telling him to leave quickly before the king arrives and takes him somewhere. Afterward, Lloyd returns home and finds Alka and Marie fighting each other. It turns out that whoever wins will get to spend the next day with Lloyd. Lloyd quickly tells them not to trouble themselves because he plans to spend his vacation working. He explains that Chrome found him a job at a hotel. Marie asks if he intends to spend the entire vacation there. Lloyd confirms that he does. Both Marie and Alka immediately say that they will go with him. However, Lloyd politely refuses, explaining that he wants to become independent and learn everything on his own. The following day, the hotel owner waits outside the entrance for Lloyd to arrive, wondering why the new employee is late. Suddenly, he senses a terrifying aura and freezes in place. A moment later, Lloyd appears directly behind him and apologizes for arriving late. The man asks who he is. Lloyd introduces himself and explains that he is the new employee. The owner smiles in relief and tells him that everything is fine. He then leads Lloyd inside the hotel and introduces himself as Koba, the owner of the establishment. During the tour, Koba explains that strange incidents have recently started happening at the hotel. Every couple of days, some guests are found unconscious, having fallen into mysterious comas without anyone knowing why. Lloyd reassures him by saying that he is a student at the military academy and that if anything unusual happens, he will handle it. Koba agrees and continues showing him around the hotel. He then takes Lloyd to the hot spring area and introduces him to Haikyuu, explaining that she will be working alongside him. Haikyuu welcomes Lloyd, and he politely introduces himself in return. At first, everything seems peaceful. However, after Koba leaves, Haikyuu hands Lloyd a broom and tells him to start cleaning. It becomes clear that she intends to leave most of the work to him. Lloyd asks if he is supposed to clean the entire place by himself. Haikyuu begins giving him a lecture about responsibility and overcoming challenges. But while she is still talking, Lloyd has already finished cleaning the entire area until it is spotless. Haikyuu is left speechless and tells him that the same job normally takes her 2 full days. Lloyd smiles and says that he is not finished yet. He then jumps onto the roof and cleans every window in just a few moments. At that moment, Koba walks in and is stunned to see how spotless the place has become. He praises Lloyd and says that Chrome was not exaggerating when he spoke about Lloyd's abilities. Haikyuu then asks why Lloyd is so passionate about working. Koba simply tells her not to worry about it. Afterward, he takes Lloyd with him, gives him the hotel's official uniform, and tells him that an important nobleman will be arriving soon. He asks Lloyd to welcome him and carry his luggage. Lloyd gladly agrees. Before long, the noble arrives at the hotel, looking irritated from the very beginning. His name is Ryonen. While talking to Lloyd, Ryonen asks what he thinks about the trees planted outside the hotel. Lloyd replies that they are beautiful. He then explains how they were planted and how they grew to that size based on what he learned back in his village. Ryonen is deeply impressed by Lloyd's knowledge and admires the way he thinks. As night falls, Ryonen sits down with Haikyuu to discuss the mysterious incidents occurring at the hotel. He asks whether she has discovered anything that might explain why the victims keep falling into comas. Haikyuu tells him that she still has not found a single clue. Ryonen then says that he has begun suspecting Koba, the hotel's owner. He explains that Koba used to be a soldier and was known for his love of war and bloodshed. Because of that, Ryonen believes Koba may be secretly growing forbidden plants inside the hotel, and that those plants could be the real cause of the mysterious comas affecting the guests. Even so, it is only a suspicion because doing something like that would completely ruin the reputation of his own hotel. After that, Ryonen hands Haikyuu a small box containing a special medicine. He explains that it is an antidote against mind-controlling plants. He asks her to secretly mix it into a cup of tea or any drink she serves Koba because Koba himself may already be under the control of a demonic plant. Meanwhile, Lloyd is working energetically in the kitchen. During that time, Haikyuu walks in carrying a cup of tea after secretly mixing the medicine into it, making it clear that she has also started suspecting Lloyd. She chats with him for a moment before telling him that he has worked very hard and should drink some tea to relax. Lloyd is just about to take a sip, but at that exact moment, Koba walks in and tells him that work is over for the day and that he should go get some rest. Lloyd agrees, saying that he is already feeling tired before leaving the kitchen. After Lloyd leaves, Koba picks up the cup of tea from Haikyuu and drinks it himself. The moment he tastes it, he immediately spits it out because of its awful flavor. He then turns around and notices Haikyuu standing by the window. She calmly tells him that the truth has finally come out. Immediately afterward, she jumps out of the window and disappears despite the tremendous height. Koba remains standing there in complete confusion, unable to understand her actions or what she was trying to accomplish. The next morning, Lloyd resumes his work as usual. He heads toward one of the guest rooms to clean it. To his surprise, he finds Ryo inside, and she is not alone. The moment Selene sees Lloyd, she immediately runs over to him. Alan is there with them as well. However, a serious problem suddenly arises. When they enter Alan's room, they find him lying unconscious. Without wasting any time, they rush him to the hospital for treatment. Immediately afterward, Selene takes Lloyd to the beach. She stays close to him the entire time and has no intention of leaving his side. Suddenly, she asks him to marry her. Ryo quickly steps in, smacks her, and tells her that they are still students at the academy and that it is far too early to talk about marriage. Meanwhile, Koba continues keeping a close eye on Ryonen, clearly suspicious of his behavior. At the same time, the group enjoys their time at the beach. Suddenly, Shoma, Lloyd's friend from Kunlun village, arrives. He is driving a wagon loaded with supplies. Lloyd happily greets him and asks why he came. Shoma explains that he is delivering a large order. It turns out that the shipment contains firebombs, which the hotel ordered to burn certain materials. However, the presence of those bombs immediately raises suspicion. Ryo notices the way Shoma is acting and feels that something about him is unusual. Lloyd introduces him to everyone, explaining that Shoma is his friend and one of the people from his village. After delivering the shipment, Shoma leaves. Selene then warns Ryo not to get too close to the bombs in case they explode. Afterward, she grabs Lloyd's hand and walks away with him. She takes him out on a small boat in the middle of the sea where the two spend some peaceful time together. During their conversation, Selene tells Lloyd about her past. She reveals that everyone used to call her cursed and avoided getting close to her. But everything changed after she met Lloyd, and he removed the curse connected to her headband. However, Lloyd tells her that he is not the amazing person she believes he is. He admits that he cannot accomplish everything on his own, and that he always needs help from others. Selene encourages him, insisting that he is strong and does not need to rely on anyone else. Elsewhere, Haikyuu watches Lloyd from a distance. She waits until he comes out of the sea. As soon as Selene leaves, Haikyuu quietly approaches him. But before she can surprise him, Lloyd turns around, greets her, and tells her that he has not seen her for the past 2 days. Haikyuu is completely surprised because she thought he had never noticed her presence. She then offers to apply sunscreen for him. Lloyd happily agrees. In reality, however, she is applying a special herbal cream designed to eliminate parasites because she still suspects that Lloyd is under the control of a demonic plant. Even so, nothing happens to him, and he remains perfectly healthy. Suddenly, Selene returns. The moment she sees Haikyuu standing beside Lloyd, she becomes furious and charges toward her. Haikyuu reacts instantly, slips behind Selene, grabs her, and throws her to the ground in one smooth motion. Selene lands hard on her head. A few moments later, Selene breaks free while Lloyd tries to calm everyone down and asks what happened. Haikyuu takes advantage of the distraction and quickly escapes. Later, Selene arrives in a forest where Ryo's secretary suddenly appears before her. She notices that his legs have already begun transforming and tells him that he has been infected by demonic plants and will soon become a complete monster unless he finds a cure. However, he admits that he has been infected for a long time. He reveals that he stayed beside Ryo all this time only to deceive him and eventually destroy all of them. Suddenly, his transformation is completed. He turns into a horrifying monster and completely loses his mind. Meanwhile, Haikyuu regrets ever suspecting Koba and believing that he was responsible for growing the demonic plants. The truth is finally revealed. Ryo's secretary is the real culprit. Without any warning, the monster's roots burst from the ground and wrap around Haikyuu's legs, apparently trying to transform her into a monster as well. At the perfect moment, Lloyd arrives. He looks at Haikyuu, then at the monster, and calmly asks what is happening and what that creature is. Haikyuu explains that the monster is responsible for the mysterious comas affecting the hotel guests and is also the reason behind all the destruction at the hotel. Suddenly, the secretary completes his transformation and turns every tree around him into monstrous creatures. Lloyd and Haikyuu quickly find themselves surrounded on all sides. One of the tree monsters charges toward them. Lloyd destroys it with only 2 strikes, while Haikyuu realizes that the battle ahead will be far more difficult. Elsewhere, Ryo is sitting with his assistant and Koba, discussing the demonic plants and the way they control humans. At the same time, Lloyd defeats every tree monster, only to realize that their leader has disappeared. It turns out that the transformed secretary has headed straight for the hotel with the intention of killing Ryo. He openly admits that he remained by Ryo's side all this time, only so he could spread the demonic plants. He also reveals that he was the one responsible for putting the hotel guests into mysterious comas and declares that he will kill everyone now. He immediately launches his attack. At the last possible moment, Selene and Ryo arrive alongside Mina, Philo, and the witch Marie. Together, they manage to save everyone from the attack. Mina attacks the monster with fire magic, but it absorbs the flames completely. Next, Philo lands a powerful strike on the middle of its body, sending it crashing outside the hotel so the battle continues outdoors. Everyone launches attack after attack, but the monster remains completely unharmed. During the fight, part of the building's roof collapses above Selene. Ryo's assistant rushes in to save her, taking the collapsing roof himself. It is then revealed that the man is actually Selene's father. Despite all their efforts, no one can injure the monster. Then Ryo comes up with an idea. She takes Alan to the wagon filled with fire bombs, and together they decide to use them to blow up the monster. Meanwhile, the monster captures Mina and Philo and is about to kill them. Just then, one of the firebombs explodes and hits the monster. After that, Alan and Ryo begin throwing firebombs at it from every direction. Mina then summons a giant water serpent that coils tightly around the monster, while Ryo uses wind magic to freeze the surrounding water. The monster is completely frozen and can no longer move. Even so, it refuses to give up. Its roots burst out of the ground and attack everyone nearby. Ryo explains that the only way to kill it is to destroy the core inside its eye. At that moment, Selene struggles to pull her father out from beneath the rubble, but cannot free him. Suddenly, another wall begins collapsing toward them. Lloyd arrives at the very last second and rescues both of them. He immediately flies straight toward the frozen monster, takes advantage of its immobility, tears the core out of its eye, and crushes it. The instant the core is destroyed, the monster explodes completely, bringing the battle to an end. Elsewhere, Shoma brings a young woman to a mysterious man. After learning that she wants revenge but lacks the strength, he gives her special herbs and medicine, transforming her into a monster. It is revealed that Shoma is working with this criminal organization. Later, Lloyd learns that the king has assigned the academy students a mission to capture a giant snake hiding inside the castle. While the royal army secures the area outside, Lloyd and the others head inside. Unknown to them, Shoma and the mysterious man are also after the snake, while Alka secretly watches everything. As the group searches the castle, Alka teleports Marie there separately. While exploring, Marie encounters the transformed Commander Makona, who reveals that she willingly became a monster to get revenge on Lloyd. She captures Marie and waits for Lloyd to arrive. When Lloyd enters, Makona transforms into an insect-like monster and attacks him. Despite her relentless assaults, Lloyd fights back. But the battle becomes even more dangerous after Ryo, Selene, and Philo arrive. Lloyd protects them from Makona's deadly branches, taking the attack himself before unleashing his full power. After an intense battle, he creates a massive tornado and blasts Makona completely out of the castle. Just as everyone thinks the fight is over, the giant snake appears. It recognizes Lloyd, introduces itself as the guardian of Kunlun village and Alka's power, and explains that Alka accidentally left it inside the castle. Before they can continue talking, a mysterious man appears. Lloyd immediately calls him a criminal, and Alka soon arrives, revealing that the man is Sue. While everyone is distracted, Sue attacks the giant snake, destroys the crystal inside its body, and kills it, hoping to erase Alka's power and weaken Kunlun village's magical seal. However, just before dying, the giant snake transfers Alka's power into Selene's cursed headband, causing Sue's plan to fail. Realizing he has lost, Sue escapes. With the threat over, the mission is declared a success, and everyone returns to the royal palace. Immediately afterward, everyone returns to the house, where Alka invites them to accompany her to Kunlun village. Everyone agrees, and they set off on their journey. Along the way, Lloyd asks Alka why they are traveling through the forest. She explains that she will not be using teleportation magic this time because they first need to meet a dwarf who lives deep inside the forest. Meanwhile, Ryo, Selene, and Philo are all excited about finally seeing Kunlun village. However, Lloyd tells them that the village is actually quite boring and not worth all their excitement. Marie asks everyone to stop arguing and reminds them that their real goal is to remove the giant snake from the cursed headband. The commander and Chrome also join the journey. After traveling for a while, everyone reaches a massive cave and enters it. Suddenly, the dwarf appears from behind a large gate. He examines the cursed headband, and the snake sealed inside begins speaking to him. The dwarf asks in surprise why the snake left the village. The snake tells him to ask Alka instead. Before he can continue, Alka interrupts and tells him not to interfere in matters that do not concern him. The dwarf then invites everyone inside, opens the gate, and pushes them through it. In the next instant, they are all transported directly to Kunlun village. The moment they arrive, everyone is amazed by the village's beauty and the vast farmlands surrounding it. However, as soon as they step inside, they are overwhelmed by an enormous and terrifying aura filling the entire village. Suddenly, an arrow flies past them at incredible speed. One of the village women catches the message tied to it. It contains a request to prepare dinner for that evening. She quickly writes a reply, ties it to another arrow, and shoots it toward the mountain where the first arrow came from. It seems this is the villagers' normal way of communicating. Everyone's amazement only grows when they see one of the villagers climb into a cannon before firing himself straight to the top of a mountain. Meanwhile, Alka and Lloyd act as though everything is perfectly normal. Suddenly, Lloyd's grandfather returns to the village. Lloyd immediately runs over to greet him. His grandfather is carrying an enormous fish almost as large as a whale. Afterward, Philo approaches Lloyd's grandfather and tells him that Lloyd said he teaches the village children a rare martial art. The old man confirms that he does. Philo proudly demonstrates everything she has learned. However, Lloyd's grandfather calmly tells her that those are only the basics and that the village children merely use those techniques as warm-up exercises before beginning their real training. Philo is completely stunned after realizing that the martial art she had been so proud of is considered nothing more than a warm-up in Kunlun village. Ryo then offers to help Lloyd's grandfather carry the enormous fish. During that time, Alka asks everyone to head toward her house. By the time Ryo arrives, she is so exhausted from carrying the fish that she can barely remain standing. It becomes clear that Lloyd's elderly grandfather possesses strength comparable to that of a dragon. Meanwhile, Chrome and the commander arrive in Kunlun village to meet someone. Alka tells them that the person they are looking for is working in the wheat fields. She is referring to Murthafan. The two immediately hurry there. When they arrive, they find Murthafan peacefully working in the field. He is surprised to see them, warmly greets them, and says that it has been a long time since they last met. The three begin talking. However, the commander suddenly loses her temper and punches him so hard that he crashes into a nearby tree. Once things calm down, Chrome asks when he plans to return to the kingdom. Murthafan replies that he was manipulated and deceived there, and now everyone sees him as a traitor. Because of that, he has no intention of ever returning. He honestly admits that he has come to love life in Kunlun village and has found true peace working in the wheat fields. Chrome and the commander feel saddened after hearing his answer, but they respect his decision and leave him alone. Elsewhere, Lloyd is sitting inside Alka's house with his family, talking about everything that has happened in the city and the kingdom. During the conversation, Selene joins in because she wants to get to know Lloyd's family better. Suddenly, loud crashing noises come from outside. Alka calmly tells everyone not to worry and casually explains that it is only a dragon. Excited by the challenge, Ryo rushes outside, intending to fight it. But the moment she sees the dragon's true size, she freezes in place. The dragon immediately begins chasing her. Just then, the village children appear and start throwing leaves at the dragon. Those leaves are so powerful that they shatter one of its horns. Terrified, the dragon immediately flees. The children pick up the broken horn and happily walk away. As evening falls, Lloyd's family prepares a grand feast to celebrate everyone's visit. While eating, Lloyd's grandfather tells Philo that everything he taught her so far was only the foundation and that her real training will begin the next day. By that point, Philo is so exhausted that she cannot even stand up from her chair. Soon afterward, Alka joins everyone at the table, and even Murthafan sits down to share the meal. After dinner, one of the elderly women asks Ryo to help clean the table. Ryo happily agrees and helps tidy everything up. Meanwhile, Alka meets privately with the dwarf. He tells her that the time has finally come to begin the second phase of their plan. He explains that they have conducted extensive research into magic and that most humans are now capable of using it. However, Alka refuses to rely on that research because she does not want history to repeat itself. It becomes clear that both of them are afraid of an ancient incident happening again. The dwarf then tells Alka that Vritra was close to recovering his memories. He warns her that no one knows what Vritra might do if he regains all of them. It is obvious that Alka and the dwarf are hiding a major secret connected to this matter. In the end, Alka decides to postpone the second phase of the plan for the time being. Back at Alka's house, Murthafan stands before Marie and sincerely apologizes for everything he did in the past. Marie tells him that she has already forgiven him and no longer holds any resentment toward him. Afterward, she asks how the king was transformed into a demon. Murthafan explains that one day he met a mysterious man who gave him a large egg. He then presented that egg to the king. From that very day, the king immediately transformed. It is finally revealed that the mysterious man was none other than Su, making him the true mastermind behind every disaster that struck the kingdom. The next morning, everyone travels to find a new body for the giant snake. At the prison of the end of the world, the dwarf explains that Alka's unstable power now threatens the world. He warns that the legendary sword is the only key capable of releasing the sealed demon kings, making it one of the world's most dangerous treasures. After learning that the sword is safely stored in the kingdom's vault, result, he asks everyone to protect it. The dwarf then takes Selen's cursed headband, claiming he will transfer the snake into a new body. After a strange ritual, Alka suddenly loses almost all of her strength. As the group prepares to return home, the dwarf asks Alka to follow him alone. He secretly leads her into the forest, traps her inside a deep pit, and reveals that everything was part of his plan. He never intended to save the snake. Instead, he sealed Alka's power for several days, so he could steal the legendary sword and release the Demon Kings. He also reveals that Su and Shoma are his allies before sealing Alka inside the pit. Meanwhile, the dwarf lies to everyone else, claiming that Alka is busy and that Lloyd is still inside the village. After separating them, he also seals the teleportation gate, leaving both Lloyd and Alka trapped behind. Back in the kingdom, Ryo visits Rule, who reveals that the man behind the legendary sword theft was So, and that he was accompanied by a child who looked exactly like the dwarf. Ryo immediately realizes the dwarf is involved. Later, everyone gathers for the upcoming exhibition match between the kingdom and the kingdom of Gyo. Alan nervously prepares to represent the kingdom, while Ryo warns the king that a great danger is approaching after seeing Su and Shoma arrive alongside the king of the kingdom of Gyo. Meanwhile, Lloyd finally finds Alka, rescues her from the pit, and learns about the dwarf's betrayal. At the same time, the dwarf meets Su and proudly reveals that the teleportation gate has been sealed, preventing anyone from leaving Kunlun village. So smiles, knowing everything is ready for his plan to begin during the exhibition match the following day. Meanwhile, Alka launches Lloyd toward the city using a giant cannon. At the same time, the exhibition match begins, but everything changes when the fully transformed Makona suddenly appears and defeats Alan. Meanwhile, the fake king of the kingdom of Gyo is revealed to be Sao. He offers an alliance, promising the power to turn humans into monsters. However, the real king refuses, declaring that he will never sacrifice his people. Su then orders the dwarf to act. Before he can move, Ryo, Philo, Marie, and Selen expose his entire plan. They reveal that he sealed the teleportation gate to trap Alka and Lloyd and intended to steal the legendary sword to free the Demon Kings. The dwarf laughs, releases giant flying insects instead of bombs, and challenges everyone to stop him. Su warns the king that the insects will destroy the kingdom unless he joins them, but the king confidently orders his soldiers and citizens to fight back. Meanwhile, Murthafan confronts Shoma for betraying Kunlun village. The two clash, but after revealing that he wants to change this broken world, Shoma unleashes his true power and critically wounds Murthafan. Elsewhere, Ryo, Marie, and Philo continue fighting the insects, while Su defeats Chrome and the commander before demanding the legendary sword. Alan attacks Su from behind and cuts off his arm, but it instantly regenerates. Sao then reveals that he is an immortal being created from magical runes, who has lived for thousands of years. He declares that he will kill Alka before making Lloyd his successor. Just then, Lloyd crashes onto the battlefield and confronts the dwarf, who openly admits that freeing the Demon Kings and conquering the world has always been his goal. The dwarf summons a gigantic stone giant, which absorbs Makona's power and repeatedly regenerates no matter how much damage Lloyd deals. While Lloyd battles the giant, Selen waits for an opportunity to steal the sphere containing the giant snake. Lloyd finally prepares a finishing blow, but stops after discovering that Makona is trapped inside the giant. The giant takes advantage of his hesitation and overwhelms him, leaving him unable to move. Murthafan arrives just in time to protect Lloyd and urges him to stand up. At that exact moment, Makona breaks free from the giant, while Selene steals the sphere and frees the giant snake. The snake returns to the cursed headband, fully restoring Alka's power. With Makona freed, Lloyd destroys the stone giant once and for all. So watches the battle with admiration and tells Lloyd that he sees him as the hero who will one day succeed him. Realizing he has become useless, the dwarf prepares to flee. Suddenly, a massive magic portal opens in the sky and countless rocks rain down, destroying every giant insect. Alka has fully regained her power and confronts the dwarf, declaring that the game is over. Before she can finish him, Shoma appears, rescues the dwarf, and escapes. Su also retreats, promising that he will kill Alka the next time they meet. After the battle, peace returns to the kingdom. The king honors everyone who fought to protect it. Murthafan regains his position as a royal army commander, and Lloyd returns to the academy to continue his training. And that brings us to the end of part 1 of Lloyd's story. So, what will happen next? Will Su succeed in taking over the world and turning humanity into monsters? Or will Lloyd manage to stop him and save the world from his plans? You'll find out all that and much more in part 2 of Lloyd's story. See you in the next video. Goodbye.